cigar, nun, palm tree, pasta. Okay. You can use this for names and faces. 85% of older people have trouble with this. So Paul Foreman has a prominent forehead. Harry has a lot of hair. Lisa has a Mona Lisa smile. So you see, it doesn't have to be exact. It can be a first association, just something to help jog your memory later. And as Dan mentioned, we've developed a lot of different programs teaching these healthy lifestyles. We have a brain boot camp at UCLA. We have a UCLA Center on Aging Memory Training Program, which is very popular in Florida. It's a 4-week course. Tens of thousands of students have taken this. They've learned it in small groups. You know, it's great, but it's also a challenge to get people to embrace the healthy lifestyle. I just pulled this out of a medical magazine. You can see the doctor here with the stethoscope smoking. And the question is, how long does it take to change public policy to show that this is having an impact so we embrace the new ideas? We did a study with the RAND think tank a few years ago, and we asked the question, what would happen if everyone in the United States embraced one healthy lifestyle, maybe took a walk once a week, or did some memory exercises, or ate fish twice a week, and there really was a cause and effect relationship here. We did the calculations. We calculated that within 5 years there would be 1 million fewer cases of Alzheimer's than expected. So there really are potentially significant public health implications about what we were talking about, and I think using this technology to reach a much larger audience is critical. Sure, we have these memory classes in Florida and around the country, but that's the people that can get to the class. To really penetrate that older population, I think it's going to be with the new technology. So now, is this technology worsening our memory? How many phone numbers did you remember a number of years ago? Probably not as many as you remember today. And so my answer to that concern is we need to pick and choose what we commit to our biological memory and what we commit to our devices. So names and faces, use Look, Snap, Connect to remember people's names and faces, but birth dates and telephone numbers, use your devices. Now, another upside of technology in terms of training our brains, surgeons who play video games make fewer errors in the operating room. So the next time you need elective surgery, ask the surgeon how many hours a week they're playing World of Warcraft. It may be very important. Also, some of these games will improve visual attention, peripheral vision, and we know that offline brain training is important. Even psychotherapy can alter neural circuits in the brain. And so what's the answer to this issue that I call the brain gap instead of a generation gap between the natives and the immigrants? I think it's finding balance in our lives, trying to upgrade the tech skills of the older generation and helping younger people with their human contact, face-to-face skills. Now let's just, before I close, I wanted to talk about the future brain for a few moments and just speculate about this. It's quite interesting because there's a lot of research right now looking at computer-brain interface technology. And studies have found that you can put electrodes or sensors on the scalp, and the volunteers can actually control a computer and type 15 words a minute. So this is quite an interesting technology. In the future, instead of wearing a Bluetooth in your ear, you'll be wearing these little headpieces that will read your mind. And if you want to meet your friend for coffee, you just think that thought. It will be transmitted wirelessly to your friend's laptop, and they'll think, oh yeah, I'll meet you at Starbucks. And when you get there, you can just sip your cappuccino. You don't even have to talk. You can just read each other's minds. Now, the downside is you're going to have to wear a little tinfoil hat, so when you walk down the street, you won't be bombarded by spam. Now, I just wanted to make a few comments. I talk about brain fitness and cognitive fitness, but you know, it's also about mental wellness, because a lot of people want to forget their memories because they're in emotional pain, they're depressed, and they have problems. And the question is, how will technology be affecting that, new technology? Now we have a lot of pharmaceutical technology to help with mood, depression, psychiatric problems, but there are new devices like repetitive transmagnetic stimulation that's been used to treat psychosis and depression. In 2008, the FDA cleared TMS for treating major depression in patients who don't respond to other treatments, and it involves 10 to 20 successive treatments over several weeks or a month. This is what the device looks like and what they think is happening with the pulse magnetic field. There's deep brain stimulation. You get even more invasive. It's used for obsessive compulsive disorder, delivers electrical stimulation to targeted areas in the brain. There's a surgically implanted battery-operated device, and it's similar to having a heart pacemaker. It's about the size of a stopwatch. So we have here some experiments looking at a new mother's response to babies. And, you know, there's a different part of the brain where when a mother looks at her own baby versus someone else's baby. So here's another example of how we can really isolate different mental experiences through this new technology. And then the question is, can computers read our minds? And I think very soon in the future they will be. In fact, here's a recent experiment that was done at Carnegie Mellon University where they were able to train a computer to read a volunteer's mind. And you see there was a different response, whether it was celery or airplane that the person was thinking about. And then, of course, we not only have telehealth, but we have telemental health, where there are new cell phone applications for long-distance psychotherapy. It's used in treating addiction, memory loss, anxiety disorders, and there are skin conductance anklets that can transmit signals when a patient experiences anxiety. It would be really nice to get a little message from my psychotherapist. You know, they're a little anxious talking right now, slow down, and so forth. And it would be great because I could read it from my little hippocampal implant in my brain. So, I think this is important, yet we still have a problem with psychiatric intervention in terms of stigma about getting psychiatric help. Here's the therapist is writing "just plain nuts." You can read that. And it's a problem. I mean, Rod Steiger a number of years ago came out that he was depressed. Yet even today, a recent Indiana University survey of over 2,000 people found there still was a tremendous stigma. People wouldn't want to work with psychiatric patients, alcoholics, and so forth. So it's an issue that we have to overcome. So let's get back to our brain training here in this session. Who is this guy? Very good. Oh, look, you're doing great. Memory Masters. Okay, any volunteers want to tell us their story? Yes, why don't you stand up and tell everybody your story? Okay, well, I have a free PET scan slot later today that will help you out. Let's hear the 7 or 8 that you have, and then I'll analyze why you forgot those other 2 words. Wonderful. Very good. Let's give him a big hand. I think that was a wonderful story. Let's have one more story. Anybody? Yeah, in the back. Yeah. You have a story or you have a question? Okay, yes. Why don't you stand up? Let's hear your story.
Course, he stopped to pick up a teddy bear lying under a palm tree where sat a cigar-smoking nun who had just finished a plate of pasta.
Let's give her a big hand. So now you had the nun smoking the cigar. Did you go to Catholic school? No? Okay. So you can see how you can, by the way, how many saw the nun smoking the cigar? How many saw the teddy bear smoking the cigar? Okay. Anybody see the professor smoking the cigar? So we can probably break up into groups. Anybody see the pasta smoking the cigar? So you can see how we can have a lot of fun learning these techniques, and certainly in our classes, it destigmatized the experience. So let's wrap it up and get some more questions. Technology is not just changing our lives, it's changing our brains, and it will do it in the future. The new generation gap is a brain gap between the natives and the immigrants, but I think we can find balance in our lives and bridge this gap by improving technology skills and social skills and knowing when to use